So good, Lauren. I want to thank you for your time during this conversation that we're going to have for the next 30 minutes or so. And you wear multiple hats right now. And I think your career has also had different hats, right from being a people and capability lead to now being a leadership coach, and in between I'm sure there were different hats of facilitators and some group chair of an executive network that you are a part of and things like that. So what are the inflection points that have taught you the most in life, Lauren? And if you can share some specific stories or anecdotes there, that would be really useful.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I think, I mean, it's funny you asked that question because it's something that I often we unpack, if you like, with many of my coaching clients as well, which is really just to understand a little bit about their journey, you know, their call to adventure, and we've had, you know, sort of repeats itself as well. And so, you know, I guess it's a little bit with myself as well. Most of the time, I think for all of us, the inflection points are usually when you know, we either hit a high or a low, and you know, basically have to push through it or learn through it, and you know, and come out the other side. So I think probably for me, if I look back over the last 27 years now, probably the one inflection point was when I left South Africa and moved over to try to make a new life professionally and personally in Australia, in Sydney. So it was quite a bold move, I suppose, in a way, but quite lonely as well, because it's something that I chose to do because I thought, you know, I really need to find some work now after having worked at the university in South Africa for the period leading up to that. So that was kind of quite a time for me, really navigating the real world out there. This was before digital, of course. And actually I passed through Singapore on the way. We stopped over there on the way to Sydney, Australia. But I think that moment, that a period of adventure and separation, if you like, was a real, I guess, really helped me to look at myself, where I'd come to and where I was going, and really, you know, make some decisive and difficult choices, necessary choices about, you know, what my future was going to be. So you know, you have a lot of disappointments along the way. And I remember looking for my first job, and it took me about 3 months of soul searching and writing letters. This is still when we wrote letters. I got so many rejections, I could literally paste them around my little room. I was sharing a bedroom with my brother and his wife at the time then. So it was quite in Sydney. So it was quite an eye-opener. And for me, that just redefined success, I think, and achievement, and helped me to, you know, re-look at myself and detach in some way from material achievements, because I've always felt like I've always been successful, but really to find within myself a little bit more of hope and optimism, and then also start to build the resilience piece. And I think that has always stood with me over, you know, the inflection points that I have in my life since then, over the last 27 years. That resilience and optimism always is something that I think helps me get through things most certainly. So that was kind of the first one, I think, early in my career, but just something that has always stuck with me.
Correct. Wonderful. I like the words adventure and separation, right? They seem to be like in polarities, but I think you balanced it beautifully.
Yes. Yeah, no, they are. And I think that just repeats itself. You know, we're constantly having separation from our old world, and, you know, the call to adventure, to go somewhere else with new people and new support.
Correct. Wonderful. How has coaching reshaped your purpose? I'm sure, I mean, I think there was a lot of connection in being in learning and development for you, or people and capability, when you were in the corporate career. And then obviously that sets you to work with people, but then how has it reshaped your purpose, Lauren?
Yeah. Look, I think it was a very intentional moment for me when I left my corporate role, stepped off the treadmill, and everyone thought I was crazy in the corporate job. They said, why do you want to go out and start your own business? And, you know, when I explained it, I just thought, I don't know, I just feel like I have this drawing to really pursue this world of, you know, helping organizations thrive, whether it's through facilitating, designing, delivering, etc., or, you know, and or working with leaders and executives and managers to help unlock some of their own mindsets and beliefs that might be holding them back and redefine their own purpose and direction. So I think I needed to go on that journey, and it's redefined my purpose in that I mean, I could be working a corporate role and probably being you know, remunerated a lot more. There's more certainty, all these things. But I've just felt I wanted to sort of see things through with, you know, a range of different individuals and leaders and organizations, rather than sort of passing the mantle over, if you like, for other people to run with as things happen in organizations with those types of initiatives. So for me, that purpose, I guess, was really just knowing, and you know, the more people that I started to who basically I joined on a journey, their coaching journey, their leadership journey, whatever it is, the more I realized what a privilege, an absolute privilege it is for me to, you know, feel like they've entrusted me to be part of these conversations, these interactions, these moments of silence, these moments of doubt, you know, where people do feel sometimes at their lowest and most vulnerable. I've just thought it was a privilege, and I often would say to myself, really, am I good enough for this? You know, will I be good enough for them to support them on their journey? And then I realized, you know, it's you know, as you start to mature as a coach as well, you know, you just realize just being there in that space is, you know, the most incredibly amazing and rewarding and fulfilling place to be.
Correct. I mean, I can relate to it, being a coach myself, right? So every time there is an engagement, you feel like, hey, am I going to make an impact there? There's always those question marks coming in. But then when you go through it, I think it's just the flow, as you call it, right? And it's not about you, but it's actually about the other person. So you're just at the back end trying to facilitate it for them, right?
Yeah, exactly. Just listening, and you know, we'll probably explore some of that, but just being in really powerful conversations where actually there might just be silence for a few moments, and that's how the conversation may lead to something that really is just so enabling. Yeah,
sure. I mean, but today, you know, you see a lot of people, they're also internal coaches, right? So suddenly it looks like, hey, what am I doing outside? There could have been questions like that come for us as well as for other coaches, right? What do you think about, any perspectives you want to share about that space of internal coaches versus external coaches like us?
Yeah, well, again, yes, it's interesting because I too was an internal coach, you know, but I was also, you know, occupying a role whereby I was perhaps making decisions or part of an organization that maybe was not as supportive or be seen to be supportive of some initiatives and things that another part of the organization is that you'd be working with. So I think that role is quite fraught with tensions, and unless it's a truly, you know, in some ways a dedicated position, and or I think where there is that high level of trust, you know, that I seem to encounter in my own corporate life with individuals whom you would land up and ask, you know, the permission they would ask you to provide some coaching. So I think it's quite difficult because typically the human resource or the people function, yes, it's shifting, it's changing, you know, so dramatically now. However, some organizations, you know, quite a few organizations still see HR very much, you know, as, you know, delivering and rolling out sort of some of the more foundational pieces and necessary pieces, but very limiting for what HR actually can do, the human resource professional, the people developer in the organization. So yes, the fact that someone can, I think the foundation back to that is trust. How much trust exists in this conversation between two people that will allow that divulging and sharing and openness.
Correct. Very nice, Lauren.
Mm.
So let's just move to this aspect of building and working with networks, right? So you are the group chair of EGN, or the Executive Global Network. How can coaches better leverage these networks and partnerships, Lauren?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, the EGN Executive Global Network has, I still am affiliated with them. They just fulfill an incredible function of bringing together, allowing people to come into a community, very safe environment, to share and explore. So when I look at coaching, I just go, how come us coaches are not, we could be doing more of this too. And I sometimes, I wonder that, certainly in my own world and life, the relationships that I build along the way, that I happen to meet somebody, or we'll meet other groups of individuals who are also coaches, we land up actually just connecting and clicking and just saying, hey, I'd love to, share with you some of my challenges, or get your thoughts on some particular thing. So I do believe that we can continue to build communities. I think they called it this old world communities of practice, but I guess it's a community of sharing, and without it there being a exchange and a barter in some sense, because it's the coaching, once you've been, what it's like yourself. I mean, having a mentor coach to help yourself as a coach see things that maybe to support your own growth and development, really, really critical. The same way of just bringing together small little communities of coaches to share, to exchange. Maybe there's opportunities that come out. There's definitely learning and insights, and that sort of builds that fulfills and opens the values, I suppose, that underpin coaching too, which is really helping us all learn and grow and contribute to make the world somewhat a little bit better through every little conversation we're able and privileged to have.
Absolutely. Wonderful. So all of us are in this job, or in this role of making others great, and in that process we have to have this continuous learning that's become a part of pretty much every human being these days, right? How much and how we do it is different, but then we'll have to learn every day. How do you become a better coach every day, Lauren?
When I think of myself about sort of 16 years ago as a coach, and now I would now say inverted coach, because I was a coach and I was doing all this stuff, but I think it's something that's just part of you. It's a practice. It's not something that I'm one thing with my clients and I walk out the door and go and interact with friends and family, and I'm something else with them. I think that learning really comes with just accepting ourselves for who we are, with all our frailties and failures, and but also looking around and just going, the conversation, that's the only thing that really that exists, that can bind and bring people together, is having conversation, engaging, and that may just be where I've seen my own ability to help people, even though I thought, gosh, I'm quite taken aback that person thought I did so much. But thank you. And then it made me just realize, actually, the power of conversations, the power of questions, the power of listening, the mindset of just being open, and just holding that space for people to be able to share and exchange, and just say, this is what I'm really thinking and feeling about life, about me, about my team, about whatever it is.
Correct. Wonderful. Very nice. What's your mantra, Lauren, for managing time, talent, and commitment?
I think, if anything, this past COVID year has really helped me see the world also through the eyes of what I was, perhaps the corporate warrior, and how fast, responding, reacting, time, pressing, deadlines, even trying to fit the kids' schooling in between the next Zoom meeting. And so I think probably that mantra would be, it's sort of been used somewhat before. There's a great book about it, of course, that everyone knows, but it is, sometimes you've got to go really slow and, just take it slow, step back, consider, wait for everyone to catch up, and then move forward, with purpose and engagement and the full knowledge of clarity and, behind you or with you or standing next to you or in front of you. So I think it's just that balance of the pace at which we think and operate, and expecting things to happen, immediately.
Correct.
Time is finite, right? So it's, we can't manage time, as we know, but it's what we choose and where we focus our energies in that time that is most important.
Correctly. How has your experience been because you must have certainly worked across different cultures, and how do different cultures react to this time, commitment, talent, and all of that, Lauren?
Yeah. Yes, interesting. Certainly some of the work, the teams that I've worked with, be they in Russia, working, with a pharmaceutical organization and leader over there. I think there's something universal, though, in some sense, that we, just at the heart of who we all are some core values and motives and needs that we all have. Correct. To be respected and to be honored. And yes, they may play out differently, whether it's in a Russia culture or whether it's in Southeast Asia, whether it's in Korea, Japan, Europe, Australia, New Zealand, and the rest of the world, India and South America too. So I do think it's, if we just, we understand the nuances and the subtleties, and of course within various cultures, but ultimately, we can all take time to just step back, slow down, consider, make sure everyone's on board, and then move ahead with purpose and at the speed that we need to. Not everything's urgent, and correct. I've been doing a lot of prioritization work with leaders over this last year, and because everything just seems important and urgent. Correct. Business or talent, but actually there's a way to draw the lines.
Correct. Beautiful. So what do you think should be the future of coaching? And I mean, you were talking about it even now, but then any specific thoughts on how should coaching evolve as we move into the future?
Yeah, look, I think it's going to evolve, whether whatever view we have on it. Obviously it's doing that already. And I was just reading something with the ICF that apparently it's going to be worth $22 billion or some US dollars by 2022. But where coaching will or should evolve, I think, I was involved in a program last year, which was sort of an inaugural program around global team coaching. Mm-hmm. And GTCI. And I must say that really, really opened my eyes in a different way to the possibilities and of what a different world this world would be if we were able to provide coaching, not just to corporate, but to any aspect of community, social, social fabric, where coaching is available, and working with teams. Correct. This is the thing. Working with individuals is kind of one thing on its own. How do you turn that into greater power, impact, amplified, and results? Correct. Lasting, when you're actually able to work on the journey of the team through all those stages of forming and evolution that goes on, and is a continual process.
Correct. And it's also not just about coaching internal teams, but it's also coaching with your partners, with your other external stakeholders and all of that, right? So it's basically group coaching across different interfaces.
Correct. And and across communities. If you think of all those, social entrepreneurs have done an incredible work, but it's almost an extension of bringing together these, NGOs and even social hubs and things, whereby, working in this collaborative way and getting insights and learning from each other on a shared goal and outcome is just, something that we hadn't ever considered and, as possible until this year, when we also see what technology can do, working through Zoom, breakouts, all the rest of it. It's done an incredible, left us with lots of opportunity.
Beautiful, beautiful, wonderful, Lauren. So this has been I would say a good 30 minutes, well spent understanding. I mean, sometimes everything looks like common sense, but then it's like, it's good to have common sense get reiterated again and again, right? And I love, and I kind of get that sense from, you've kind of, it's about the basics. I think that's what I understood from this. It's about sticking to the basics, but and kind of improving them with all the technology advancements that we're currently having to, transform and, teams and the organizations, I guess, right? So
exactly. And I think that just on that is just, don't discount the power of words, the power of conversation to shape and change minds and collectively. It's immense, it's huge, and it's a real privilege to be able to do that in the service of good as well.
Correct. Doing good by gaining good, right? And that's
exactly.
Full circle here. Wonderful. I should say thank you, Lauren, for the time that you've taken, and my very best wishes to you and now in Tasmania. So let's stay in touch, Lauren.
We will do. Thank you. Lovely to see you, and all the best to Venkat as well.
Definitely. Take care.
All right. Cheers. Bye-bye.
Bye.